What are you doing in my swamp?
Hey guys, T-Shiver here, how you doing today? So, today's video, well, MKL40 beat me to it, but you know what, I'm going to let that slide because I like the guy, he's alright. But we'll move away from that and we'll talk about today's topic, which is drafting. If you look at YCS Toronto and look at YCS Madrid, they both happened simultaneously. Obviously, America is 5 hours behind, so they finished 5 hours or so behind we did. The main difference between the two was that when you get to top 16, you go into draft, which is obviously this time was Battle Pack 3. It was very interesting to watch and to read the feature matches because obviously every monster is treated as every type, so you can use a whole bunch of different support cards that you normally wouldn't do, like Fighting Spirit on a non-warrior type. So that's really interesting, but ultimately, is drafting, now that it's been around for so long, has drafting past the top 16, is it actually worth it? In my opinion, not really. There's three reasons I could come up with at the top of my head that actually kind of helps me bring my point across a bit better. So the first one is, so Konami have brought upon drafting because they want to promote skill. Basically, they when they actually implemented it into the game, they said that they wanted it to be there so that the best player out of 16 players wins because of skill. Now, another way you can promote skill, which is arguable, really, but generally it's considered to be the best way to implement skill into the game, is by having mirror matches. So if a really strong deck takes up most of the top 32, then you're going to be playing a lot of mirror matches, and ultimately the top 8 or the top 4 will all be the same deck. So you have your own kind of draft in itself, because you're all playing the same cards, but it's a game of poker where you have a game of luck, a game of chance, and generally being able to outsmart your opponent and going, oh, I know what he's playing, I have the same cards, so therefore I can work around his plays because I'm doing the same things. So in that sense, they implement drafting as a way to get everyone on the same playing field. But if you think about it, no one's going to get the same cards. You're drafting out of a pool out of over 200 cards, so you're not going to have the same cards as your opponent. So if you are bad at drafting and you play against someone who's good at drafting, but you got a really, really good draft of 40 cards, and your opponent got a really bad draft and they can't make anything work together, they got too high tributes, all of their Xyz monsters are levels that they can't use, blah blah blah, then you will win because you can just overpower them. I mean, does that make you a better player? Not really. It doesn't. You know, if they're going to implement skill in drafting, then why don't you just give everyone exactly the same pool and then they make their own deck? You know, and you make it completely unknown before the event starts, so that when people get the cards, they actually don't know what, they can't prepare for it. So therefore, there is skill because you have to think on your feet. With that said, people like Patrick Hoban, he won even though it was draft. So what does that say then? Does that say that he's a good player? I mean, I guess it does, because it means that he drafted and still won, and he managed the top 16, and you know, he got there, so he's still really good and he still deserved the win. But at the same time, he tops so often and he's mastered topping so well that he can dedicate a lot more of his time than other people into drafting. So therefore, does that make him a good player? I suppose it does, because he can go places, he can get somewhere, a state of mind that no other player can get to, because everyone's trying to go, okay, how am I going to build my Shadow deck the best? How am I going to top? He's already like, yeah, I've already topped, basically, but now I'm just going to dedicate more of my time to drafting. So when I do draft, I'm going to win, so that even if he gets a bad draft, he can outsmart his opponent because he's looked at everything that's in Battle Pack 3 and he just knows exactly what he's going to come up against. So he knows generally how to outplay things. He knows that there's no 500 attack boost, so if he plays something 500 attack stronger, he knows it's not going to die unless his opponent dedicates more than one card to it. So stuff like that basically gives him a slight advantage. Does that make him deserving of the win? I suppose, but it's not a mirror match, is it? It's not close. He actually has more advantage in that sense. And another thing that kind of annoys me is that why doesn't the Europe get this? I mean, I like how we don't have it because I don't agree on it, but if Konami is going to implement something like draft, which is drastically changing, because top 16 and top 32 is going to change the secondary market of cards, but ultimately if you come first, you get reputation, you get you get commended for, well done, you managed to win a YCS, 1,000, 2,000 people, well done, you deserve this, whatever. But that's the other part of it. That's why people want to win. When they get to top 16, they've already, oh great, I've done really well, I've got packs, but you want to win because you want the status. If Konami is going to implement this kind of thing into the US, which is obviously bad because it's so, like, they were just testing it, oh, should we put draft in it? Okay, let's try it. Why didn't they just try it with, like, Oceania, or why didn't they try it with South America, or why didn't they try it with Mexico? Why didn't they try it with a few different YCSs that aren't that big, so that you can actually see if drafting actually makes a difference? But to put it in the one place where you'd find the most amount of players, you're going to piss off as many people as you possibly can. And if Konami is thinking that this is the best way to do it, then why doesn't Europe get it? I mean, there is a difference between how Konami sanctions Europe and how they sanction US. There's two different divisions, but at the same time, to have that difference, you're basically now creating a brand new format between Europe and everywhere else in the world, the US, and then the OCG. So now you've got three different things going on, because you're going to go, I'm actually playing to top 16. I'm building this deck so that I can win 8 games instead of 10. That's it. So it changes slightly how you think and how you play. So US and Europe are now different, and obviously they have the same ban list, but they are different in that sense. And then you get the OCG, which is completely different. So you can almost not be able to compare the US and Europe anymore. So that's my opinion of drafting. I mean, do I like it? No, as I said the 5th time already. But whether or not they're going to keep it, I kind of hope they don't, because I just don't think they've done it right. But at the same time, there's a lot of things to improve. Hopefully they do something about it in the near future and make it a bit more fair, So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you guys in a few days. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, the Thetcglover is out.